I was driving to a meeting for work, and I was driving on the 10, getting off onto the 51, and I was right on that off ramp or on ramp onto the 51, and it was pretty busy. It was during lunch hour. It was noon on a Thursday, and there was a utility truck in front of me, like a white pickup truck, several car lengths in front of me, and he hit the divot in the road, like a bump in the road first, and then I hit it behind him. And after he hit it, this metal pole dislodged from his truck and hit the road in front of me, and then bounced off the road and then kind of twisted up and then into my car, right by my face. And then, glass came pouring all over me, and I couldn't really see very much at that point. I was looking at his truck, but you're in such a state of shock that I was wondering why he wasn't getting over. And that thought occurred to me of like, look at his license plate. But I was just, at that point, I had to get off of the freeway. And thankfully, there was a large SUV behind me that could see that something went in my car. And he put his blinker on and he helped guide me over because I couldn't see very well. And we got over, and then we kind of pulled off onto Thomas.
So, what were the reactions? How long did it take you to process what you were seeing, and give us a sense of really how quickly this happened?
It was so fast. And the car was quite a bit in front of me. ADOT released a statement about it on Facebook, and a lot of the commenters were saying, oh, she was probably tailgating him, and that's such a problem on our streets. And that's the thing, like, even if I was, it wouldn't have made a difference, but I wasn't. It was a 4-foot pole, and when you're going, he was probably going 50 or so miles an hour. It's incredibly dangerous, and it does just happen so fast. I saw it hit the road, and I didn't anticipate it coming back up. I thought I was going to go over it. So I held on really tight to my wheel because there was cars on either side of me. So there was nowhere I could go, which was actually a blessing because had I wouldn't be here today. But I thought I was going to drive over it. And I didn't even realize it was in my car. Until the police were on their way and I was pulled over, and I couldn't move. It's hard to explain. And I was just in such shock. I couldn't really feel anything on my body. And I was afraid to look down because you always hear those stories about somebody being in shock and losing a limb and not even knowing about it because they can't feel it. So I was just honestly very paralyzed, sitting there in my car. And the SUV that came to help me, he's the one that called. I mean, he was doing everything. And it wasn't until the police officer came and started talking to me, and when he was walking up to my car, he just kept saying, oh my God, oh my God. And it made me kind of look around for the first time. And then I saw it, and it almost made me pass out because it was just, I knew I felt it. But I hadn't looked at it yet. And seeing the way that it was lodged and cut the roof of my car, it was chilling. And even now, I think what I feel anytime I get in a car is the sound that it made coming in and the feeling of the glass. And I'm still processing it. To answer your question, I'm still processing it. I have such trouble sleeping, and my work has been amazing. I drive a lot for work, and they've been so patient with me. But today I had to drive to a doctor's appointment this morning, and there was no way around it. I had to go, and it was my first time on the freeway since the accident, and there were 5 trucks in the span of 4 miles that were carrying stuff in the back of their truck that wasn't secured, ladders, pipes. And I, again, I couldn't avoid it. There were cars beside me. I tried staying far back from them. There's no avoiding it. I think that's what I'm having trouble with the most. One, the person never pulled over, and so this cost is all on me. I've spent like $1,000, and the stress and the anxiety, and I feel like this could happen again anytime I get in the car. And we all feel that. We've all been, if you drive a lot in Arizona and Phoenix, we've all been there to see the ladders on the side of the roads, the tires falling out of somebody's truck, the equipment. And yeah, definitely you cannot tailgate. Absolutely. Good idea. Don't tailgate. But I'm telling you, when you're going, 50, 60, 70 on the freeway, you have very limited options at that point. You can't control the cars around you. And it's just incredibly frustrating because I'm vulnerable every time I get in the car now. And everybody I know is vulnerable every time they get in the car. And, my husband works for a trade, and they talk a lot about this frequently with their crews, like secure your load, don't ever go anywhere without it secured. And people still don't. And, you've maybe done it 1,000 times and you've never had a problem. Maybe this guy in front of me, maybe he's been doing this for years and it was never a problem. And then it just takes that one time and he could have killed me and he could have killed other people. And I don't think that was the intention, right? I don't think that's anybody's intention. I think you see it all the time. Everybody does it. It's fine until it kills somebody. And then it's not fine, and it just takes a few extra moments to do the right thing. And that's it. Just do it. Just do the right thing.
Absolutely. Oh, what an incredible story. And I just can't believe that people victim blamed like that. But what do you think would have happened if it had come in through a different spot in your windshield?
Had it gone over it was literally this close to my face. Had I braced myself or moved in any way, it would have impaled me for sure. I think the other thing I think of is, had it hit because it bounced off the hood of my car a little bit, had it done that any differently, because it came on just straight, like long, had it bounced differently and turned around and went in sideways, it would have like decapitated me. And so I replay that in my head all the time. And it's hard to stop that. It's hard to stop those thoughts. Really any little difference. And that's why, had there been no car around me, I would have tried moving in a split second. You don't even really think. It's just, if something's in the road, you kind of swerve quickly to get, to avoid it. And had I done that and it hit my car differently, it could have spun it differently to where it hit me. It could have, so I was very, very, very lucky. And yet everybody tells me how lucky I am, and I agree, and I'm really thankful. It's still a lot to go through, and it doesn't feel very lucky, because I'm still feel very traumatized by the experience. And I don't want this to have lasting effects on me. I love my job. I love going to our different clinics. So I have to get through this. And I have to trust that it's not going to happen again. But that's hard to do when I took a 10-minute drive today and there were 5 different vehicles that had loads in front of me that could have done the same exact thing all over again.
And what do you think the driver could have done to prevent this from happening?
Tied it down, belted it down. And if he couldn't, transport it differently, like in a van or something that had a backing. I've tried so hard to visualize his truck because I remember looking at his license plate thinking, you need to know this, you need to remember this. And I can't, but I remember thinking that it didn't look like a lot of stuff in his truck. Because I think as drivers, we're all paying attention to that. And if you see a truck that's carrying a lot of stuff, you try not to drive behind it. And he didn't have a lot of stuff. There was some stuff, but there wasn't a lot of stuff. So tie it down properly.
And you've given us some ideas too for, you know, being careful when you do see someone with an unsecured load. But what other messages do you have for other drivers? What would you ask them to keep in mind?
If you see something like that happen, pay attention to it and report it. There was a lot of other people on the road that probably did see it and maybe assumed that I got the license plate or somebody else would call and get the license plate. That's one thing that I would suggest, because I'm really frustrated, obviously, by the fact that this person didn't do anything. I don't know. I think just if you do see an accident, stop. And if you are part of the accident, if you're the cause of the accident, do the right thing. You know, he had a chance to do the right thing. He did the wrong thing by not securing his load. He could have then, after causing a major accident, done the right thing.
I'm sorry, do you think he knew that it had fallen off?
I do. I don't know that obviously for sure, but because it was metal and the length of it, it was very loud. And I feel even me, if I was carrying something in my back seat, you kind of just like when you hit a bump, you kind of instinctually look up in your rearview mirror. Just if you're carrying something, it's just instinctual. You just look up to see if it's still okay. So I feel like he had to have done that. And then to see obviously what my car looks like, but then two cars at the same time, like just basically stopping and just slowly getting over behind him, I think it would have drawn attention, especially in that area, because there's so many people on the left trying to go to the right and on the right trying to go to the left. So you're constantly looking in your mirror. So I do think that he did, and it probably scared him, and he was probably in shock as well. But there is a chance that he didn't, you know, that he had loud music playing and didn't. I mean, I would think he definitely would have realized when he got to his destination that he was lacking some supplies that he had originally put in there. And you hope that that makes them think twice before the next time. Like, you know, imagine carrying these 4-foot metal planks and getting to your destination and they're not all there and not knowing what happened to them.
Was his tailgate down?
No.
So it bounced out of the bed?
Yep.
When he hit the pothole. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Oh my goodness, what a story. And I absolutely understand that, you know, when you're involved in an accident like that, it just is very traumatizing.